Hi and welcome to Maverick Sports. UNO's fall schedule heads into its fourth week. We have a full slate today. We'll look back at football, volleyball, cross country, and golf, as well as what's ahead for all of those teams. Swimming and hockey begin in October, so we'll hear from coaches Todd Sandlin and Mike Kemp. Plus, UNO broadcasting student Adam Culliff takes a look at the lone senior on this year's volleyball squad. In studio, we have UNO's new media relations director, Dave Ollers. We'll get to know a little bit about Dave, plus find out what his outlook is for sports information, and we'll take a look at the new omavs.com website, so you don't want to miss any of this show. Of course, for many sports fans, fall means football. It's not any different here at UNO. Whether you attended school here when it was Omaha U or you're a UNO Maverick, the Crimson and Black have a long and proud football tradition. In the past few years, Pat Burns has made Maverick football a consistently winning program that has gained national attention. The Mavs own a 3-0 record going into Week 4's clash with Northwest Missouri. UNO has beaten its first three opponents by a combined score of 130-62. That's a scoring average of more than 43 points a game while holding the opposition to just over 20 points for 4 quarters. Quarterback Zach Miller was named the MIAA Offensive Player of the Week for his performance against Missouri Southern. The senior from Weston, Nebraska accounted for 338 yards of offense and 5 touchdowns in the number 5 Mavericks win. Now, Miller has been involved with 11 Maverick touchdowns overall, 5 passing, 6 rushing. In fact, Miller is the team's leading rusher with 353 yards for a 10.1 average per carry. As expected, Brian McNeil is a major contributor with 336 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Mike Higgins leads the Maverick receivers with 171 yards on 8 catches, while Troy Cush has caught the most passes with 11. Higgins and Kelvin Nesbitt each have 2 TD receptions. Here we go against the Hornets of Emporia State, as you see here. Meanwhile, Greg Zierlein has hit 4 of 5 field goal attempts. He has a 40 and 42 yarders to his credit. Reed Taylor has a team-high 2 interceptions, while Mike Norenberg is tops in interception return yardage, carrying his 1 pick for 15 yards. Jacob Scow leads the Mavs with 14 total tackles, while Matt Adwoga is tops with 11 solo tackles. Jason Zabka is a close second. He has 10 solo hits. As a team, the Mavs have run the ball for 849 yards. That works out to 283 yards a game. They're averaging 198 yards passing per game. That makes their total offensive yards per game sit at 481. The defense has picked off 4 passes. They've recovered 2 fumbles. They've made 2 sacks while holding the opponents to 134 yards rushing per game and just 184 yards per game in the air. UNO, while 3-0 overall, is 2-0 in its Mid-America Collegiate Athletic Association debut. Here's a look at the 3 previous Maverick contests. They ripped Nebraska Kearney on opening night. UNO had a 7-0 halftime lead, but erupted for 35 third-quarter points. They went ahead 42-0. The Mavs followed that up with an explosive debut in their first MIAA contest by crushing Emporia State, leading 14-7 in the first period. UNO reeled off 20 straight points. In Week 3, Missouri Southern was the victim. The Mavericks led 10-7 with 4:56 left in a half, then exploded for 20 straight points. The 5th-ranked soccer team sandwiched 2 wins around a surprising loss. Don Klosterman's crew had a 4-game win streak after blanking Missouri's Western by a score of 1-0. But the trip to Warrensburg proved tough as the Mavs fell to Central Missouri 3-1. It's the only blemish on UNO's record in 6 matches. UNO won against Missouri Southern on September 20th. Senior Mary Claire Mernon leads the Mavs with 3 goals and 7 total points. Fellow senior Casey Rigsby has 2 game-winning goals in that effort. On to volleyball. Well, the team has found the early part of the season a little rough, having lost 5 of their last 7 matches. They've been swept in 4 matches, with the last 2 times against 16th-ranked Pittsburgh State and number 4 Washburn. What's amazing is that 5 of the Mavericks' wins have been sweeps. Plus, they lead their opponents in almost every offensive category. UNO has 138 more kills, 132 more assists, and 12 more service aces than their opponents. Team leaders are junior Ellen Thomas with 156 kills. Freshman Emily Myers has 272 assists, while junior Kayla Jansen logs 15 service aces. Jansen also has 180 digs. One of the top stories this year, of course, is that Rose Shire's group has 1 senior, setter and defensive specialist Andy Rice. We'll hear more about her later on in the show. It's a whole new challenge for UNO as they enter a conference that boasts 5 teams in the top 20. Plus, the Mavs have already played 10th-ranked Nebraska Kearney. So you can see it's not an easy schedule. Well, the Mavs have played 500 ball over their last 4 matches. All 4 have been sweeps for the winning team, as you can see here. The Mavericks are 6-8. They're 2-2 in the conference. The breakdown goes like this: 3-3 at home, 1-3 on the road, 2-2 at neutral sites. Southwest Baptist is UNO's only road win. That came back on September 20th. The largest loss margin of any of their 51 games has been by 9 points. The Missouri Southern win was the Mavericks' MIAA debut. That victory also snapped a 3-game losing streak. Junior Sarah Kampschneider and sophomore Jamie Tooley recorded double-doubles. Kampschneider had 14 kills and 10 digs, while Tooley logged 34 assists, along with 17 digs. On to cross country. Steve Smith's group consists of 3 sophomores and 5 freshmen. They had just 1 meet in September. It was at the Central Missouri Open in Warrensburg. Freshman Amanda Stauffer was UNO's top finisher with a time of 16 minutes, 22.29 seconds. Other Maverick finishers were Kara Kuhneman, Jana Bronze, Lisa Tesarek, Mary Margaret Nelson, Jolene Smith, and Bailey Kozial. As you can see, UNO finished 7th in Warrensburg. Back in August, they came in 3rd in the UNO Creighton Classic. Fresh off a trip to nationals last summer, the golfers are 3 matches into their fall season. Junior Erin Oman leads the pack with a 75.5 average per round. That's about +4 for 72. Her lowest round to date is a 72, and she's finished in the top 5 in all 3 of UNO's matches. Fellow junior teammate Abby Weddle has 2 top 10 finishes and a top 20 finish in those 3 matches. Tim Nelson has no seniors. Joining Oman and Weddle are sophomores Amy Powell and Danny Supanchik and freshman Rebecca Pollock. UNO opened its fall season the 2nd weekend of the month with a 3rd-place finish in the Lady Panther shootout, then 5th in St. Paul at the Wildwood Lodge Invite before taking 2nd place at the Mustang Invite in Marshall, Minnesota. Well, don't go anywhere. Still to come, a talk with the new Athletics Media Relations Director. Adam Culliff introduces us to the volleyball team's only senior. Plus, we'll take a look at the Mavs' new sports website and much more, so please stay with us.
Your city, your news. The Omaha News, a different perspective on Omaha and its people, presented each week by the UNO School of Communication. The Omaha News, Wednesdays at 4 o'clock on the Knowledge Network.
UNO Television.
Students work with professionals who have all kinds of experience in the industry.
Lights, camera, action. Literally.
Get paid while you learn more about the TV business.
Work on all kinds of productions.
My friends who worked on TV crew last semester are now working part-time at local stations.
Working on TV crew is a great experience.
UNO Television. Student crew, professional staff, award-winning results.
We're all aware that UNO is in a new athletic conference, and that means a new set of challenges for all the Maverick coaches and players. What we sometimes forget is that all college coaches have to deal with the annual challenge of losing athletes to graduation. That can leave very few experienced athletes on the team. Volleyball coach Rose Shire says that sort of challenge this year with only 1 senior player on the team. Reporter Adam Culliff talks to senior setter Annie Rice.
Annie Rice may be the only senior on this year's volleyball team, but leading a team is nothing new to her.
Every year that I've been in the sport, I have been considered a leader, or at least considered myself a leader. Coming from Lincoln East, I was the setter for 3 years, so being a setter, you kind of are put into the role of a leader whether you like it or not, and I like being the leader.
But Annie doesn't consider herself just the only leader on this year's volleyball team.
No matter what class you are a leader, and we look to you whether you're an incoming freshman, a transfer, or a senior in my case.
With Annie being the only senior on the team, she's also the team captain. But she's not the only one.
There's 3 captains this year. We have a sophomore setter, Jamie Tooley, and then a middle blocker junior, Ellen Thomas.
And these are the girls Annie turns to when she needs motivation, as well as other teammates.
I definitely turn to my teammates to get motivated. They're always there for me, and yeah, I am the only senior, but they fill in for the void of not having any teammates in my class.
And this year's team will need a lot of motivation since they joined the MIAA conference.
We are at the max games you can have in a season this year, which is 32, and it's almost doubling what we had last year, so we play every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday for the rest of the year. And yeah, it does get tiring, and it pushes us mentally even more, but I think with this team we're capable of fulfilling what needs to be done.
With such a daunting task of being the only senior on this year's volleyball team, joining a new conference and playing the maximum number of games, you'd think there'd be a lot of pressure on Annie, but there isn't.
I don't feel any more pressure, and I think it's a good role for me to be in.
For Maverick Sports, I'm Adam Call.
Thanks a lot, Adam, and we'll be looking forward to hearing more from you as the season progresses. Well, in studio with me, it's really funny how the sports community and the broadcasting business goes because it kind of comes around. I met Dave about a year ago. He was a play-by-play announcer for the Omaha Knights hockey team, and we did a couple of television broadcasts together. Little did he know he'd be in the studio with me on a show about Maverick Sports where he would take over the media relations head. And of course, I'm talking about Dave Ollers, who is now the director of athletics media relations, so however I can say that title for you, David. But first of all, congratulations. Welcome to the UNO family, and
thank you.
Good to have you on the show.
Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, you know, you kind of replaced a legend. We always heard about the guy that replaces the Woody Hayes or the John Wooden, and you've kind of done that with replacing Gary, but you know your stuff, you have your chops. So coming into a situation like that, what's your outlook?
Well, you're right. It can be intimidating following in the footsteps of a legend like Gary Anderson here for 29 years, and obviously his work speaks for itself. You know, for me, I just try to put my own stamp on it to kind of take it to the next level from where he had gotten the department. I'm pretty lucky in that I inherited a department that already had good people in it. Steve Field has been the Associate Director of Athletic Media Relations now for, I believe, 19 years. Mm-hmm. So whenever I have a question, Steve's the guy I talk to. We've also got some terrific students and graduate assistants who are working with us. And, you know, we're looking to get the most out of everybody and to give everybody on our staff an opportunity to show their strengths, to hopefully to stretch them a little bit, to learn some new things. And at the end of the day, what we want to do is we want to try to tell the stories of the UNO athletes. We want to make our coverage of them as a media relations department one that is going to tell sort of that behind-the-scenes story, that personal story about where these athletes came from, what their background is, and what their aspirations are, whether it be, you know, throughout their college career or maybe beyond.
Okay, now we in the business call my next question a cream puff question, but as no stranger to sports casting and the media, I mean, that obviously has to fall right in line with what you're doing. Make your job a lot easier than if you were coming from, say, a marketing side and had no broadcast experience.
Well, there's no question about it. I mean, given my past work experience in professional hockey, we were trying to do the same thing there, to make that connection between the guys on our team and our fans, because that's where you're really able to draw people in, is to make that connection between your players and your fans. And you know, we're very lucky. I think that you really find some just wonderful personalities amongst athletes and coaches, people who are very very goal-oriented, very successful more often than not in what they do, and people who always have seemingly a good outlook on what it is that they're doing. So they're great people to work with because everybody is very accommodating, as you saw in the piece with Annie Rice. I mean, willing to give of her time for a nice piece, and I found that too for some of the work that we've been doing, interviewing with players and coaches. They're just terrific with their time and really kind of understand how important it is to get the fans out there.
All right, now the short time I've known you, I get the impression from you you're an easygoing guy.
Like to think so.
Yeah, which leads me to the next question. From a personality standpoint, what do you think is one of the strongest points that someone in your position needs to be able to display on a regular basis?
You know, more than anything, I think you just have to be consistent in your effort. I think that goes probably across the board in just about anything, but I think your effort has to be consistent, and you have to approach every task, whether it be a pleasant one or an unpleasant one, sort of with that consistency. I like to think that I'm an easygoing guy, and I think you tend to get more from people, whether you're trying to motivate them or whether you're trying to tell their story, if you can kind of approach it that way. So, you know, I think organization is another big key, because, as I said, our department is not real big, so we have to be well organized in order to make our way through what's a very hectic athletic schedule from when it starts to when it finishes sometime in May. I'm thinking of a day that we've got coming up on November 8th. We're going to have 8 different teams are going to be in action on that day, and of our staff of 4, we have to make sure that we are covering, whether it be an event here at home or something that's on the road. And I think that's something that's lost on a lot of people. They see, well, the football team's on the road, you must have had the weekend off. Well, no, we've got to travel, and even if we weren't traveling with the team, we've still got to do that reportage that's going to end up on the website and hopefully in the newspapers and things like that. So it's a lot more work, I think, than people understand, but it's if the job wasn't enjoyable, we wouldn't be doing it.
Does it hurt, or I should say, it doesn't hurt, actually, to be at a school where all the athletic teams are really good at what they do? I mean, that's got to make your job a little easier.
Well, there's no question about it. I mean, you look back at the success that the programs have had, the success that they're having this year. That's one thing that I really discovered very early on in getting here is what a great staff of people we have, whether it be the coaches, the assistants, the trainers, all the way down the line. Everybody really seems to have a lot vested in the success of the athletic department as a whole. Everyone's very supportive of one another, and I think that just kind of goes to the whole team concept. You have no question whatsoever that you're in an athletic setting when you see how everybody kind of pitches together, and I think works well together.
Well, I think that's a good indication of where we are at UNO.
Right.
Don't go anywhere, because I'm not going to let you out of the studio.
Okay.
Mavericks have a new website, omavs.com. You got to go there if you haven't been there yet. We'll talk to Dave about that a little bit more when we come back. Maverick Sports. Stay with us.
Hey Maverick fans, keep up with the scores and activities of all your favorite Mavericks. Go to omavs.com to check the Mavs scoreboard and get the latest news about all the Maverick teams. Get live stats from the games you just can't make and read about all the action when the game is done. Check out the events calendar, sign up for text messages, or download a Maverick podcast. You can even order the coolest Maverick merchandise. You'll find it all at omavs.com. Go Mavs!
Hi, and welcome back to Maverick Sports. As we said before we took the break, I wasn't going to let Dave get out of here without talking to you about the new Maverick website. This is really something exciting. I've been on it, had to use it to write scripts for the show, get information. This is really a neat thing. It's fun, and for a guy who's not a computer guy, it's easy for me to get around.
Well, it's a great site because, as you can tell, it's really got a nice updated look, and Steve Field, who I mentioned before, has done the lion's share of the work on this particular project. But here you see we've got our lead story right up top. The nice thing about this is it's easy to find information. We've got a little search engine up here. We click on Go, and you'll see if we look for something under Burns, Pat Burns, our coach, what it does is basically drop down every story that has where he has appeared in it in some way. So easy to find information on a particular player or a particular team. I want to go back to the home page again and kind of show you where we are. We've got the men's sports. They all drop down. And each one kind of gets you to sort of the real basic stuff, the things that you're going to want to find more often than not. Schedule, roster, statistics. We can go to football. Well, if I can make it work, let's go to the roster here for football, and I'll show you one of the sortability features. It's really good from a media standpoint. Here you see we've got a numeric roster right now, but say we wanted to sort these players by their class. Well, we click on this, and what it will do is it will arrange all of these guys from freshman all the way on down. So that's kind of a nice feature. The other nice thing, too, is that we've archived so much of this that we can go back and we can take a look at the roster from 2005. Now, because of digital stat keeping and the way it is, we can't go really far back and check out the 1949 team,
Sure.
but we can check out some of the more recent ones, and this website will bring it all up. We've also got archive statistics on all of these teams, which is kind of nice. So you've got archive stories, as you can see here, but we've also got statistics. So if we were to click on statistics, this will take us to a whole list of stats. So if we want to go to 2001, we click here, and there you see you can get every stat you could possibly want on what happened during the 2001 season. So there's quite a bit there that I think will really appeal to sort of the dyed-in-the-wool fans.
And that's the key for me. You mentioned the media, but this helps the fans stay close to the program.
Well, there's no question about it. And we also have, if you can't make it to the game, we have a feature called Live Stats. And right now, of course, we don't have a game going on. But if you go to Live Stats, what it does is it brings up this flash stat panel, sort of, and it's updated as the game goes along, so you can follow every play, every drive, and it stays updated, so you can follow right along with the game even if you couldn't be there. If you want to listen, we have listen live links on here as well, which is kind of a nice feature that gives you an opportunity to listen to the radio broadcast live. Also, starting tomorrow, we are going to be webcasting live video of football to start with, and then basketball will sort of follow there. So there's a lot there. My suggestion would be get on there and monkey around and see what you can find, because there really is a lot we have to offer.
Good stuff. Well,
Yep.
Dave, thanks for stopping by. We'll have you on
Thanks for
again.
having me, Tori.
And
Yeah.
Looking forward to working with you,
You
bud.
bet.
All right, Dave Ollers, new Director of Athletics Media Relations. All right, let's continue and take a look at what's going on for the rest of the Maverick sports. Here's what's coming up for Maverick football. The weekend of this taping, Northwest Missouri invades Caniglia Stadium. That's big, a fast rivalry. And UNO travels to Truman State, comes home versus Missouri Western, and then hits the road for 2 straight weeks at Pittsburgh State and Central Missouri. Okay, a very busy schedule for the soccer team. They host Truman State, then they're on the road for 4 in a row. They take on Southwest Baptist, Northwest Missouri State, Missouri Western, and Truman State. They finally return home on October 15th for North Central Conference foe, former North Central Conference foe, Augustana. Of course, the Aggies part of that NCC. The runners are off until October 3rd, and they'll be at the Emporia State Open. The following week finds them in Vermilion, South Dakota for the Tim Young Invitational. They finish the month at the MIAA Championships in Warrensburg. The golfers have 3 matches left. They're at Wayne State the weekend of this taping. Then it's on to Maryville, Missouri for the Northwest Missouri State Fall Classic before wrapping up the season down in Lincoln at the Nebraska Wesleyan Fall Invitational. There's a couple more sports just starting out next month. First, let's hear from the Maverick swim coach, Todd Samlin, on what he sees in store for the Maverick swimming and diving team now that they'll compete independent of a conference.
Going to the MIAA conference is going to be a little bit of a challenge for us because there's only one other team that has swimming and diving. So we're almost going to be looked at as an independent. And so we're going to still swim a lot of the schools who swam last year, a lot of Big 12 schools and schools that are very local. But then we're going to focus on a conference meet that's going to be an invite from other teams that we swam last year, and then we're going to focus on nationals after that. Last year, the 07-08 season was a great year for us. We won conference, and that was great because it was the last conference meet for the North Central. And then we also got 5th in nationals, so we're really excited about that. For this season coming up, we are looking forward to, again, having a great season. We have every reason to expect that since we have 7 of the 11 people went to nationals back this year swimming with us. So we have some great freshmen, so we're looking forward to having a very competitive all-around program. We're going to have our first meet coming up October 3rd. It'll be here at home with Kearney, and then we're going to travel to Iowa State. And then a really big meet for us, I think is a big meet for us, will be November 1st. And that'll be against Division I Northern Iowa. And they're coming here in the afternoon and swimming us at 2 o'clock, and it should be just a great meet. They were really close to us last year, and they're improving, we're improving, so we'll be down to the wire, I'm sure.
Here's a look at what's in store for UNO swim team. UNK comes to the Hyper Building, and that'll be on October 3rd. Then the team heads east to Iowa State on the 11th. Finally, the Mavericks return to the ice next month. We talked to hockey coach Mike Kemp to see what's ahead for his UNO Skaters this season.
Obviously, we're really looking forward to the new season. Last year didn't end the way we wanted it to, and this year we've got renewed enthusiasm and a lot of young players. It's going to be a very interesting season for our team. We're going to be facing the same kind of challenges in the CCHA with Michigan, Notre Dame being really strong teams this year, and other conference opponents that are going to be very difficult as well. And we're going to be a team that's going to be a little different than we were a year ago. A highly offensive team a year ago. We led the nation in power play statistics. We were the number 8 team in scoring offense, but a lot of that offense graduated. So we're going to come back with a team that's going to be more mature on defense. We feel we'll be stronger in goal, and we're going to be a team that's going to probably be a little different look, but nonetheless really, really exciting. We're optimistic for this year. I think as we go into the season, we're going to be a team that may be overlooked by a lot of teams and a lot of the prognosticators. But as we all know, those preseason prognostications are only for paper and conjecture, but you have to play it on the ice. And looking at our schedule this year, I really think it's a favorable schedule for our team. And I think we go into the season in probably better physical shape than we were a year ago. And I think with a confidence level that probably exceeds what we had a year ago. And I think so I think our team is ready and poised to make a good run toward a championship in the CCHA.
It's always good to see and hear Kempers. We'll have to see how the Maverick hockey team works out. Here's what the team's looking at. They host Manitoba on October 13th. Then they welcome American International, Union, and Quinnipiac. I love that, Quinnipiac. For the Mutual of Omaha Stampede on the 17th and 18th of October. Mercyhurst comes to town on the 24th and the 25th. Of course, the rivalry with Northwest Missouri has really come into play in the last few years, especially since the Mavericks have had to meet them on the field in the playoffs. Well, as we said earlier, Northwest Missouri is in town to play the Mavericks the weekend of this taping. So all we can do is just, hope the Crimson and Black can play their best and stay up with Northwest Missouri as they have in the past. We know that there have been times when the Northwest has gotten the upper hand, but, hopefully we can take care of that in this weekend's play. All right, here's a look at, here's where if you want to see the show again, here's how you can catch it on Tuesday on September 30th at noon. And then Wednesday, October 1st, Friday, October 3rd, then again Monday, October 6th, Tuesday the 7th, and Wednesday the 8th. There you see the times. You can go to www.tknomaha.org if you want to get more information. Okay, we're going to roll credits. Watch the names. Without those people, I couldn't do what I do, and you wouldn't have the great show you have to watch. So it's all on them. Thanks for being with us. Until next time, hang high, that Crimson and Black. See ya.